Light cones, the weapons of Honkai Star Rail, and you might be asking, why are we talking about light cones? Well, because we need to know which ones are the worst and which ones are the best. So in today's video, we'll be focusing on all the worst light cones in Honkai Star Rail. Basically the ones you shouldn't be leveling up or shouldn't be investing into because they are absolutely atrocious and down bad, and probably a waste of your resources. For right now anyways, as of May 6, 2023. Now guys, this could obviously change in the future, but as of right now, this is how they are. So we're gonna go down the list now of all the worst light cones for each type. Starting at destruction, then going to hunt, then erudition, harmony, nihility, preservation, then finally abundance. So let's go ahead and start off with destruction first. So let's go ahead and talk about one of the worst ones now. On the Fall of the Aeon, you get this from the Herda shop, and honestly I think it's a waste of time, a waste of resources, and honestly it's not that good. Reason being, it only increases damage done by 12%, and there's a very harsh condition behind it, that being breaking the enemy shield. Also the attack gain is not too good, and it takes way too long to build because you're only getting like an 8% attack increase per turn, which is honestly not that good. There are a lot better ones out there that give you more. For example, the Moles Welcome You, this gives you 12% per attack, which is a lot better than that one, and that's a 5-star light cone. Also, I think I should mention it's only increased for the battle you're currently in, so that means once it switches stages, you automatically lose this buff, so have fun with that. Hopping into the second worst one now, Under the Blue Sky. Under the Blue Sky increases the wearer's attack by 16% when the wearer defeats an enemy. The wearer's crit rate increases by 12% per 3 turns. And honestly, this is just not too good. You only get a 16% attack increase, and also you're only getting a 12% crit rate increase when you're defeating an enemy. This is just really low. The stats are just really bad for it. And honestly, you should have better offers elsewhere in the destruction category. And finally, the least one of the bunch here for destruction, Nowhere to Run. Nowhere to Run increases the wearer's attack by 24% whenever the wearer defeats an enemy. They restore HP equal to 12% of their attack. Now this is just kind of copium. Now the 24% attack buff is not too bad inherently, and also getting some HP back is not too bad, but it doesn't scale after that. Something like Moles Welcome You will automatically get that attack in 2 turns. So this is like the least worst of the 3 worst ones for destruction, so I wouldn't level up any of these 3 light cones, guys. Now let's go ahead and talk about the hunt. Overall, the hunt has pretty good light cones all around, so these might not be the worst, not like super bad, but they are the worst 3 that I found. Firstly, cruising in the Stellar Sea. You also get this from the Herda shop. Honestly, all the light cones from the Herda shop are just kind of ass. And this increases the wearer's crit rate by 8%, increases the crit rate against enemies with HP less than 50% by 8%, and when the wearer defeats an enemy, their attack is increased by 20% for 2 turns. Really, what this means is off rip, you're only getting an 8% crit rate increase, which is absolutely horrendous. You have to actually kill an enemy before you actually get the attack off, and the other 8% comes from having the characters under 50%, so this is just not too good, honestly. And on top of that all, only a 20% attack buff for all this. This is just kind of bad. This is just really bad. Only 20%. Even destruction was giving us 24. Oh, I mean, come on, guys. Let's talk about the second worst one now. Only Silence Remains. Only Silence Remains is going to increase the wearer's attack by 16% if there are 2 or 3 enemies on the field, and increase the wearer's crit rate by 12%. So if you're facing a boss, this could be alright. Still not that good because it's only a 12% crit rate increase. And also on top of that, it's only a 16% attack increase as well. So overall, just not too good. The scalings are really low for this card. At S5, it does get a little bit better with a 32% attack increase and a 24% crit rate increase, but overall it's just kind of copium. And finally, Return to Darkness. This increases the wearer's crit rate by 12%, and after a crit hit, there's a 16% chance to dispel 1 buff on the target. This can only be activated 1 time per turn. Yeah, this is just really a 16% increase to crit. That's about it. So, have fun with that. Honestly, only Silence Remains is just kind of better than it in general because it gives you attack buff and it's only 4% off as far as crit rate goes. But yeah, that's really all the bad things I have to say about the hunt. Let's go ahead and talk about erudition now. But guys, before we talk about the erudition light cones, make sure you hit that subscribe button because only like 3% of you guys are actually subscribed. Hit that subscribe button. Let's push to our new goal of 2,000 subscribers. And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about erudition now. Hey guys, just cutting in really quick to say that I'm an absolute dumbass. This is probably one of the best ones in the game and not one of the worst ones in the game. I didn't read the ability all the way through, I guess, when I was doing this video, and for some reason I didn't think it scaled off just the max energy of the character itself, so you'll always have that damage buff on the character, which is really good and probably the best 4-star in the game. So I'm going to leave this in just so you guys can see how much of a dumbass I am, and yeah, hope you enjoy this. The worst one by far is this one right here. Today is another peaceful day. After entering battle, increase the wearer's damage based on their max energy. Damage increases by 0.20% per point of energy up to 160 energy. That means you need to build these characters all the way up to ult before you're actually getting any type of real damage buff off. So at 160 energy, if you can even get there, you're only getting a 32% buff right now. And as far as your addition characters go, I think the highest you can get is 140 points, so that's even lower. And then of course, whenever you use your ult, it all goes away, so Puck champion. The second worst here is Genius's Repose. This is going to increase the wearer's attack by 16%. When the wearer defeats an enemy, the wearer's crit damage increases by 24% for 3 turns. Like, all in all, this isn't like too rough, but it's only a 16% increase to attack and increases crit damage by 24% for 3 turns, but you have to defeat an enemy first, which by the time you're defeating an enemy with your addition anyways, most of the characters are already dead because they mostly do AoE attacks anyways, so yeah. And as of right now, the third worst one is the Birth of Self. And this is going to increase damage dealt by the wearer's follow-up attack by 24%. If the current HP of the target is below 50%, it's going to add an additional 24% damage. And damage dealt is really nice. And that's why I say this is the third best. I think this is going to improve in the future with future edition characters. But as of right now, this only works for Herta, and Herta is not like that good. So that's the reason we're putting this there down, because no other edition character does follow-up attacks. So this literally only applies to Herta, and for that reason, I'm having to put that solo on the list. Let's talk about a Harmony now, and I'm not judging this because it took me literally 2 weeks before I got one 4-star Harmony, and I had to buy it from a shop somewhere. But from the fact that there is so little of these, and a lot of them are not good. The worst one's probably going to be Crave the Moon, Weave the Clouds. Basically what this cone does is you have a chance to increase attack by 10%, increase crit damage by 12%, or increase recharge rate by 6%. And RNG type things in games are not that good. Talk to QQ about that one and see how she does for you. But yeah, RNG with cards is just really not good. It's just more hassle than it's actually worth. And honestly, the buffs are just really kind of bad. 10% attack, 12% crit damage, and 6% recharge rate. That's fucking kind of not good. The second worst one is Planetary Rendezvous. Basically, if you enter battle with 2 of the same damage type characters, it'll increase the damage by 12%. And sure, that looks good on the surface until you realize what characters are actually in the Harmony category right now. You have Asta, Tingyun, and Bronya. Bronya is wind, Tingyun is lightning, and Asta is fire. So your best case scenarios as far as buffs go, you're either buffing Dan Heng, Himiko, or Serval. Pick your poison. So this could get better in the future, but as of right now, with the current typings you have in the Harmony type, it's just not too good. And finally, Memories of the Past. This is going to increase the wearer's break effect by 28% when the wearer attacks additional regeneration by 4 energy. This effect can only be triggered once per turn. Now this right here is really only useful for Asta, which I still wouldn't recommend using this on Asta, but this would probably be the best case for Asta because she's really good at breaking shields, and that's really the best case scenario I can see it used for. But with Harmony out of the way, dead and gone, we're gonna hop into Nihility, which we only have one for. And honestly, this one's not even that bad, as we will meet again. Basically what this does is after the wearer uses a basic attack or skill, it's gonna deal additional damage equal to 48% of the wearer's attack to a random enemy that has been attacked. So yeah, I mean, that's really about it. This can be decent, this can be good, but overall right now it's definitely not the best to use. So, I mean, take that for what you will. Use it if you want. It's not like bad or anything, but it's the worst on the list here in my opinion. Time to talk about Preservation, boys, the big shield boys right now. And I hate this game because of this. I got to my pity on the standard banner and it gave me Jeppy's 5-star fucking light cone, dude. Okay, wow, man. So let's go ahead and get the worst one out the way first. Texture of Memories. This comes from the Herta shop as well. This is going to increase the wearer's effective resistance by 8%. This is also going to give them a shield equal to 16% of their max HP for 2 turns if they don't have any shield. Keep in mind this can only be triggered once per every 3 turns. And finally, if the wearer has a shield when they receive attack, the damage is decreased by 12%. Yeah, I mean, just overall, this is just not that good. There are better things in the category for preservation. It doesn't really help the team. It helps your preservation character some, but overall, there's just better stuff to use. And I think it's kind of a waste of upgrade mats to use, so take that for how you will. Hopping into the next one, This Is Me. Increases the wearer's defense by 16%. Increases the damage of the wearer when they use their ultimate by 60% of their defense. This effect can only be applied 1 time per enemy target. So this is really only good for March. Fire MC is not really going to use this, and Japar definitely is not using this because he doesn't do any damage. So yeah, this is really just for March, so yeah. that's the reason why this is here. And finally, onto the third one now, trend of the universal market. This is going to increase the wearer's defense by 16%. When the wearer is attacked, there's a 100% base chance to burn the enemy for each turn. The wearer uses DOT that is equal to 40% of the wearer's defense for 2 turns. Now, this right here is really not too bad, especially if you're using a DOT-centric team. The problem with this lies with there is better options to use. This is not like the worst option to use, but it's definitely not the best option to use either. It's pretty mid. I wouldn't level it up. There's just better stuff on the list here to actually use. And finally, abundance. I think the worst in abundance is perfect timing. It increases the wearer's effect resistance by 16% and increases the outgoing healing by an amount equal to 33% of the effect resistance. Outgoing healing can be increased this way up to 15%. So I hope your healing resistance is really freaking high, because if it's not, then good luck. The second worst here is going to be post-op. Increases the wearer's energy regeneration by 8% and increases the outgoing healing when they use their ultimate by 12%. So I mean, this is good for stacking ultimate, but that's about it. You're only getting like a buff when you actually use your ultimate. On top of that, the healing buff to that is not that big, honestly. And finally, quid pro quo. At the start of the wearer's turn, it's going to regenerate 8 energy randomly to an ally with energy lower than 50%. Yeah, I mean, that's really all it does. It doesn't increase your outgoing healing, which is kind of essential to these characters. If you want really big kills for like stimulating universe and stuff like that, this energy alone just does not cut it. And honestly, this feels more like a 3-star card than it is a 4-star card. So this is just kind of down bad if you ask me. Anyways, guys, that's really going to do it for today's video on the worst light cones in the game. These are light cones I don't think you should be leveling up or touching at all. If you guys want a video on the best light cones in the game, I'll make a video on that. But as of right now, we just have the worst light cones in the game, the ones you shouldn't touch right now. But yeah, that's really going to do it. Hope you guys subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one later. Bye-bye.